Play your hand, play your hand. No fuck, counting the stacks, stacking the bags. And no fuck, counting the stacks, stacking the rags. No fuck, counting the stacks, stacking the rags. No fuck, counting the stacks, stacking the rags. No fuck, play your hand, play your hand. Play your hand, play your hand. Play your hand, play your hand. Play your hand, play your hand.
Good morning and welcome to Champions Poker Live from Champions Club in Houston, Texas. This is Dan Fouts coming to you live with Kyle Miller. How's it going, Kyle?
It's going great. I'm really excited to see this final table. It's been a little bit since we've streamed one of our final tables, but here it is, the 100K monster stack.
Yeah, it's always fun. From a field of 396 players, now we're down to the final 9, and there are your chip counts. This is a weird situation that happened today. I was back there. When they got down to 2 tables, 2/3 of the chips were on one of the tables. So we've got a very strange distribution of chips for this stream. Typically, when we get to this final table, everybody has about 30 big blinds. This situation is weird where we have 3 players that have almost all of the chips, and we have 3 really short stacks, and that's atypical for the structure that we have. It was just a strange way that the table draw went down. So it's going to be interesting to see how these short stacks navigate against the bigger stacks. Ruth in seat 4 comes to the final table as the chip leader with over 4.5 million, and the blinds are right at 50 and 100,000 right now. So she's got 45 bigs, and right next to her, Ed has the second biggest stacks. Sebesta there in the 5 seat, 4.2 million, and then next to him, Lemchi, Ike, has 3.6 million. And then there are short stacks. One player only has 2 big blinds. 2 players have less than 10 big blinds. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they navigate these giant stacks that are all sitting next to each other.
And right out of the gate, chip leader with King Queen, raising it up.
I think you're talking about it on purpose.
She does have a pretty aggressive play style as well. I was just talking about that with somebody out on the floor. She typically has all of the chips or none of the chips. But here she has it all. See a paired flop.
And that's a great strategy to have. If you make it to the final table,
Yeah.
Usually the aggressive player is going to have a huge advantage, especially if you got all the chips.
It's such an interesting table configuration with Sebesta, to the left, and then Ike right behind that too. The 3 biggest stacks all in a row. In a way, it kind of handcuffs some of them, depending on where the button's at. If one of them opens, the other 2 are more incentivized to fold, but all 3 of them are incentivized to put tons of pressure on these shorter stacks, create some early and quick ladders for the rest of the table.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Norris in the 2 seat there in the big blind had to defend with King High and loses almost a third of his chips first hand of the final table. Now he's down to just over 10 bigs and is going to be in tough shape. He asked us to call him J-Rock. He shows up as Norris on the graphics. Sebesta with the draggers in early position. Second biggest stack coming in. He's going to open. Sebesta is a regular here in the room. Plays a lot of the daily tournaments. Super great guy. He donates all of his poker winnings to the Holy Cross in honor of his son, who's a priest, and it's an endowment for retired and infirmed priests. I think that's really cool. He's donated over 1.3 million, all poker winnings over the last few years.
Yeah, very accomplished, and as you mentioned, just great all-around guy as well. Plays some larger buy-in events, not just locally here at Champions, but goes out to Vegas, plays some of the Poker Go Tour events as well. He's not your typical old man coffee. that
Right.
stereotype that everybody talks about. I've seen him windmill some bluffs. It's amazing to watch him play.
Both blinds are going to defend here against the raise. Pretty bad flop for pocket trays. Top two for the short stack. Norris out of position. And a gut shot for Cruz. They both check. Gonna let the aggressor be aggressive.
And it's almost a mandatory c-bet, even though obviously trays are going to see overcards more often than not.
Norris plays this one slow. That's going to give Cruz a good price to get in there with his gut shot. But he only has 525 left. It's kind of an all-in or fold situation for him, and he decides to get out of the way here. I don't blame him. With a bet and a call. Would have picked up a jack. That would have had him definitely getting all his chips in there. Oh, he would have run out trip jacks. Norris continues to check, hoping Sebesta will fire, but J-Rock's going to pick this one up. Top two pair. Good pickup for him, and you can see the look on Cruz's face there. He wishes he would have got those chips in the middle. And look for Eliason to find a way to get his chips in the middle before the button gets back around to him. He's only got 1.5 big blinds left. That's the one seat. He'll be the cutoff in this hand. Action folds to Yusuf. Got ace-10, opens to 350. And Richardson right behind him, looking down at pocket eights. Gonna get it all in. He's got just shy of 10 bigs. Decent hand to go with. McGee looking down at a nice suited king. With all those chips, you could think about swatting some flies there, but with Yusuf opening before the shove, she decides to get out of the way. Action back to the original raiser. And Kay decides to fold this one. Richardson will just pick up a couple extra big blinds there.
Yeah, ace-10 really being right there on that threshold. Suited maybe a little bit different of a story, but Yusuf, very accomplished player. Everybody in the Houston tournament poker scene definitely knows that face, knows the mask. And I think he's going to look to try to avoid some marginal spots and find some ladders. He has some edge that he's going to want to push throughout this final table.
Yeah, the ladder is very valuable at this final table. Ninth place worth $2,700. First place worth $27,000. So bit of a difference.
Jump. Yeah.
And the difference between ninth and eighth is about $800. So these chips have some monetary value. Yusuf with another nice hand, looking down at nines. Pretty early position. Gonna open another one. And with 25 bigs, he definitely has the ability to open a few hands and put some pressure on the shorter stacks. Norris in the cutoff, ace-jack. He makes the call.
Offsuit connector will defend some of the time, but not this time for Sebesta. Checks through pretty quickly on the queen high flop. And again on turn. These players just trying to get to showdown. Nines are going to drag it. And until we see some of these shorter stacks get knocked out, you're going to see some passive play, especially from the middling or other short stacks.
Yeah, as I said earlier, too, those short stacks came from a table where everybody had about the same size stack. And the big stacks came from a table where everybody had big stacks. So I think they're all kind of adjusting to the dynamics of this table, taking a look around. And it's going to be, like you said, a lot of passive play probably from the shorter stacks until they kind of get a handle on this and maybe ladder up a couple of times. Eliason, however, with less than 2 big blinds, just has to shove with this hand, obviously.
Yeah, blinds are coming around as well.
Yeah, he's only got a couple more free hands.
And honestly, amazing hand to get it in with. Does get called by the chip lead on button, ace wheel.
In a very rare spot where he's going to almost have the opportunity to quadruple up, heads up. But Limchi also calling here with king high.
The ace tray does make a pair on the flop, and now 2 pair, as ace jack is going to need some help.
Yeah, needs a jack or a queen here and does not get it. Ace tray is going to hold, and we are going to lose our first player of the final table.
That is a tough one.
Just trying to get me out.
Because there's no action, they were checking for control. Ace jack felt good, but
I thought I had a good
going to be good for 9th place there, and 2,700. 400 buy-in, so not too bad to make 2,300 on top. That's obviously assuming that Eliason was only in on a single bullet. Some players definitely fire a bullet or 2 or 10 in some events like these.
No.
Not 10, surely not 10.
And then I went, no.
Yeah, I definitely did hear a couple players in for 3 or 4 bullets even.
And regular tournament players, that's a mindset thing. They're treating each buy-in as a separate tournament.
Yep.
You got to play volume when you play tournaments. Even the best tournament players probably cash about 15%, 12% of the time. So sometimes you have to fire multiple bullets. You're looking for that first place score.
Yeah, in this same event during our recent series, I fired 3 bullets myself and ended up making some money. So worth it in the end. And obviously it's poker. We're all here having fun while we're doing it.
Yeah, one thing about these Champions tournaments, just excellent structures. I mean, this tournament that we're watching right now has been going for more than 12 hours.
That's why I just cracked a monster. We'll be here for a little bit probably. I want to stay awake. Now we've got Lang in the big blind looking down at red 9s. If you watch our cash streams here at Champions, you'll notice Lang as the infamous tow truck. Great personality, great poker player, and he rips it with the 9s.
And I usually try to stay neutral on these streams, but I'm rooting for Lang. He played my hand earlier, called me over when he was all in with 7-4 of spades, and made a straight flush with me sweating him. It was great for a double against top set. So I said, all right, buddy, I'm rooting for you to win. He's going to pick up a couple of big blinds here with the best hand.
I saw Brandon in chat saying that he's pulling for Lang as well. So don't forget to let us know if you are watching. I know it's very early as we live stream this, so probably not too many people out there, but let us know who you're sweating, who you're tuning in for.
Yeah, as you said, Lang plays our cash streams quite a bit. We also see him almost every day playing our daily tournaments and stuff.
Yeah.
He's a regular here in the room. Kind of a super fun character in the Houston poker scene. Loves to talk a lot. Obviously, he's a little quieter here. Final table situation's a little different than a live cash stream, but that's definitely part of his game, is being a character and talking to people, especially when he's heads up.
Table talk is amazing, and talk off the felt, just as fun, full of energy. Just good time being around him. This one folding around into the blinds now. Probably one of the most studied spots in tournament poker, blind on blind.
Definitely a better than average start for Lang, but up against a player who has twice as many chips as he does. Just going to limp, and Yusuf's going to put the pressure on with a little pocket pair and take down that extra big blind. They came to the final table with just a few minutes left of that 5,100 level, and blinds are now going up. 75, 150. Pressure definitely on these shorter stacks. Sorry, 75, 125. I keep forgetting how great the structures are here. We'll be at 150 next level, so a little extra time, but still more pressure.
Never skipping levels here, and Norris looking down at Kings under the gun. Goes 375.
And that should put some alarm bells on the bigger stacks. When a shorter stack raises and they have less than 15 big blinds, that's a monster.
Not just that, but also the fact that he's under the gun.
Yeah.
He has to get through the entire table with this. It'd be different if it was a cutoff open, for instance, but yeah, under the gun opens have to be respected no matter who they're from, but especially from a shorter stack. He even tables it.
Yeah, but that wasn't good. So 8-7.
Nice little pickup there. Sometimes you don't mind getting some folds back. Obviously, a double would be nice, but there's also the potential of the worst outcome, getting the kings cracked.
Yeah, no worse feeling than having a monster and getting busted in a spot where you're supposed to ladder up.
Picks up free blinds and antes just in time to post them. Cruz now under the gun, Jack 7. Acting like he has the kings dealt to him. And just a couple bigs for Cruz. You got to respect it, though. He's thinking this could be dealt far worse for the next two hands. So, Jack 7, good enough to go with. But we can see now Yusuf is definitely going to spin the wheel here with sixes.
Twice in three hands, the sixes.
Cruz probably a little happy to see that he's got two overs.
Yeah.
Two live cards. And hits one on the flop. Sixes still connected to that 7-8 though. There are some straightening turns, Rivers, for Yusuf to knock this player out, but that's not one of them.
Great card for Cruz. Looking at a double up. Just has to fade a 6, and he does.
I folded both the aisles. I had Jack 6 of spades.
Goes from less than 5 big blinds to 10 big blinds. That's a good feeling, especially when when you're going to be the next person to put chips in the big.
Yeah, so play that hypothetical situation now. Shoves Jack 7, which a lot of people, frankly, aren't going to find that shove. They're going to wait it out. But now we get to see what would have been his next 2 hands if he waited around for it. Good recognition by Cruz to just go with that one. Chip leaders are out of the way. Yusuf in the cutoff.
375. 375.
Queen 8. Goes 375. He's got a good position here. He's opening into the 3 essentially shortest stacks, laying also right around that mark. But he can put some pressure. Cruz with an ace, though, in the big blind. Gets out of the way.
Yeah, decides to wait for a better one. He's in a situation there where it's kind of fold or shove, and it doesn't make sense to put more chips in to peel a flop with a 7, because if you hit the flop, you might still be dominated.
Yeah. Yeah, if that had come from a even larger stack, like McGee or maybe even Sebesta or Ike, maybe he thinks that, yeah, they're opening very light on me. I can just rip this in and probably get a fold. But Yusuf, still kind of middling stack. Still in a position, as I mentioned, that he can apply some pressure, open things up a little bit loose. I don't think that was lost on Cruz, but he just didn't want to go with that A7 there. Yusuf again, Queen Jack now. Yusuf just limping in there. McGee checks the option. And top 2 for Yusuf.
125.
Continues for just 1 big blind.
And McGee with 1 overcard and some backdoor draws isn't going to fold for that cheap price. Now drawing dead.
$400.
And here we see the size up. 400 into 700 and gets the fold now. A very good pickup there for Yusuf.
Yeah, we talked about it coming into the table that aggressive players typically on these final table situations have the best results, and he's been involved in most of the hands so far. Some of that is good cards, but we've seen him make some moves with not great hands too, so that aggression is definitely going to be a factor.
Aces now for Lang.
Tow truck looking to haul in some chips. Gonna open it up here for $275.
Wants action, obviously. Can't just rip the aces and kings. It's gonna get action.
Yeah, Sebesta, pretty quality hand here in the big blind. Obviously worth at least a call. He may click it back. Tow truck, loving this. Sebesta stacking out a huge raise. Enough to put him in, almost. And Lang doing the rest.
75. You need 75 more.
Sebesta running into it. Lang, huge favorite. But a favorable flop for the ace-jack. Picks up some equity here.
Are we going to see aces cracked to send Lang out in 8th place?
I was about to say 10 of clubs would be a good sweat card, but so far aces looking good. Just needs to fade that 10 and does. And Sebesta with a lot of chips here. He's still going to have about 18 big blinds after this, but that feels bad. That's a huge chunk of chips, and it feels really good for Lang.
Nice hand.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's it. That's it.
Patience really pays in tournaments.
There you go, that's it.
Lang getting rewarded.
I didn't do anything crazy. I had my favorite hand suited too. Queen jack.
Long day for all of these players, so when it means the most here on the final table, it's always nice to find those doubles, find those premiums, and have them hold.
And a suited ace right after that, but under the gun, he's not going to go with ace-8. J-Rock opens this one to 275, a suited ace wheel in the hijack. Watched some interesting videos recently with some big poker superstars weighing in on possibility of a rules change about face coverings similar to the one that Norris is wearing there. What are your feelings on the cover your face and that in poker? As we see Norris and Yusuf both the lower half of their face fully covered.
I'm still a little undecided, frankly. I'll admit, too, like, I haven't read that much into it, seen that much, at least from any recent kind of arguments or points on it. But I know that after COVID, there definitely were a lot of pros that just kept the mask on. I think most famously, Ike Haxton has taken a lot of heat for his covering. And frankly, I have no issue with it. Like, I think, especially with those coverings, like, I'm not looking at the mouth specifically. If I'm looking for reads, then I'm looking at more so the chest, the neck. There's other reads that I can get besides, I mean, what are we looking for? Like a lip quivering, or like some sort of like pursing of the lips. Yeah, I don't think that it gives that much of an edge, if any, to players. So if I'm going to lean one way or the other, I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it, too. I mean, we've seen people wearing hoodies and sunglasses and all that kind of stuff for years and years. And, yeah, it's, I don't know, if you want to wear whatever, that makes sense. I think, obviously, for identification reasons, you have to, show your face and show ID when asked by, casino security or the cage or something like that. But when you're in mid-game, if you want to feel comfortable, do what you want.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any reads off anybody anyway. Let us know in the chat. What do you think?
I think Houstonians are also just not used to the cold. I think Norris might be just a little cold. Who knows?
For sure. It doesn't normally get to 38 degrees here in Houston, and it is tonight.
Yeah. That stream room back there, I mean, you can see Cruz's jacket, right?
Yeah,
like,
it does
the
get
stream
chilly.
room is cold.
It's funny because this day was so packed that room has been super hot all day, but now that the room is empty,
Yep.
it's freezing cold back there.
And that's by intent as well. The lights, the studio lights there are super bright and super hot, so it's a weird little leveling war on the temperature.
Awesome. Thank you, son.
Norris picking up the blinds and antes. No flop. Again, not terrible, especially with the infamous drawing hand, ace-king. But yeah, back to that question. I think you kind of answered it with as long as they're identifiable. Honestly, my main concern would just be that somebody's so covered up that it's somebody else
They
playing.
got a pinch hitter in there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know this spot, coach. Like, can you tag in for me?
Right. Trung Vin in the chat says, take that mask off, Cam. And Brandon Wynn says, everybody in Texas on the final table should be required to wear a cowboy hat and bandanas. That makes sense, too.
Yeah. That's not as polarizing of a stance, I think. King 7 with the raise and take.
Go down, right?
Sold.
McGee retaining the chip lead.
Sorry.
I was out on the floor earlier, and some of the players were asking me if I thought a deal would be made here. It's the players' prize pool. They can do with it however they want. But the money's all up top. I don't think a deal will be made until we're just a few players left, and even then, might play it out.
Yeah,
But here, Cruz jamming under the gun, King Queen.
Yeah, pretty rare to make a deal at a tournament like this with more than 4 players, especially with the stack disparity right now. Nobody's making a deal when people have less than 10 big blinds in their stack.
Exactly.
Unless everybody has less than 10 big blinds in their stack. And we're not going to get there.
Yeah. Yusuf not liking this spot as much. No made hand, but suited ace jack, I think just too strong to fold here. Only other concern is he's got 2 other stacks behind left to act. Counts out the chips, which we see quite a bit in tournament poker. Wants to see, if I lose this flip, what do I have left to play with? The blinds will fold quickly. And King Queen versus Ace Jack. Cruz versus Yusuf again. Last time it was Jack 7 up against the 6s, and Cruz obviously survived that all in. Can Cruz find a king or a queen? Not on the flop. King or queen needed on the turn or the river, or Cruz will be eliminated. And that just about does it. Needs Yusuf to make 2 pair now.
Yeah, it's a jack or nothing. It's going to be nothing. Good fight. He did make that one big move early, and it was paid off, but unfortunately gets the big hand and does not pay off. But he will be taking home over $3,500 for his efforts today. Not a terrible result. 27,200 up top. Now we are down to 7 players. Average stack size is 2.8 million, or about 22 big blinds. But you can see McGee with almost double that, and Yusuf with a big stack here. He's definitely taken down a number of pots since this final table started. He came to the final table with 2.9 million. He's up to 4.3 now. Everybody at the table guaranteed 4,300 now.
Am I supposed to take it back?
Lang opening this one with 7s.
It's not your turn yet, sir. Do you have aces again?
No comment.
Here we have some table talk finally. McGee and Lang. Lang not with the aces, just with the 7s. And now McGee picks up a gut shot
325.
and bets it. Lang going nowhere. Puts in the call. And safe river. If he was ahead on the turn, he's still ahead. Does have position. Probably wouldn't mind a check. Gets it. I was about to say, more often than not, you're going to be good there. So
Nice hand.
check back in position. Definitely more often than not. Don't want to end up value owning yourself when all those chips have so much value and it only increases as the night progresses or the morning. We're definitely in the morning now.
Can I get a,
Yeah, it was the morning when we started.
I did like your comment earlier. We have this production thread that Dan does a great job of kind of predicting when we'll reach final table. And the Nostradongle was a little off tonight, but obviously it's rolling schedule and subject to play. But yeah, we're definitely going to be done by noon, as you mentioned.
Yeah. I usually get it within a half hour. I got it within about 75 minutes today. That was
Call.
the longest error the Nostradongle has ever made.
Oops.
All hearts on board. McGee, the dry ace. Lang, dry jack. Also in position. He bets when checked to. Could be trouble if they both make their flush.
Yeah, especially if the king or queen of hearts comes out, giving Lang closer to the nuts.
Check.
Sounded like McGee checked in the dark. It goes check, check. And ace-jack now with the check mark.
350.
And McGee putting the pressure on with nothing, just ace high.
What I have. Wow. In that stack. That's interesting.
As far as hero calls go, obviously ace jack, ace queen. Essentially not no pair here. Lang, understandable decision.
She checked the king, but it was in the dark. At least it seemed that way from our point of view.
Yeah.
He does make the hero call, and it's going to be good.
What a guy.
Nice call.
Good call.
Nice call.
Gets compliments from the rest of the table there.
Nice hand.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that was off the chip leader. Now Lang is the chip leader, just above Yusuf at 4.375.
Do what?
7-4 got there earlier for him. And now he's going to take down this whole tournament.
Don't be confused.
That's my prediction.
Bring them back up.
That's the story of the tournament.
To begin with.
Oh, shit.
I was sitting back in the back, and everybody knows I'm crazy about that stupid hand.
I'm just
And he called me over. He says, "For the stream,
stating the fact.
come look. I'm all in with 4-7."
And now there's about 750,000 over there that belong to me.
Bunch of belong to me.
She's coming after him.
Hey.
Or did belong to me, I should say.
It's comical, these hands I'm getting.
Where was the other heart?
So we need a brick.
Let's go.
At 250.
Got.
Folds around to the button. McGee's going to put the pressure on the blinds with her queen high.
And this is a little bit of that aggressive style that I was mentioning earlier from McGee. She's definitely trying to make a move here.
And Ike just calling with the better hand here. But she can continue to apply pressure. Well, now she flops top pair. Could be in really good shape against the king jack. Ike's going to continue, though. There are a number of turns here that'll improve this hand. One overcard to the board. Could have picked up a straight draw, but did not.
And McGee not slowing down. Ike does get out of the way. Avoids the variance, the marginal spot, and McGee does table the queen.
Richardson there in the 9 seat. The shortest stack now. Big blind coming his way in a couple of hands. Probably looking for a hand to go with. Either this hand or next hand. 7 high, that's not going to do it. Folds around to the button, and Sebesta finds a great hand. He is now just above 10 big blinds. In this position, he could raise small and hope somebody clicks back at him. And that's exactly what he does here. 2 big blinds. But not much for Lemche or Lang. Lang, though, getting a really good price to see a flop with king high. Also has all the chips in the world. Heads up we go. Ace high flop. Great news for Sebesta. Checks it back. Sets the trap. But Lang doesn't fall for it. And will not make the hero call with king high.
Who's gonna make you blush? Oh shit. That boy Dylan Mackin and talking on the YouTube at the same time. 275.
Norris with a small pair, opens at 275 in early position. Folds all the way around to the big blind. Yusuf with the same hand that Lang defended with last hand. He'll get out of the way, though.
Blind is up.
Yeah.
Sounds like a dealer change is happening. Gonna have Patrick coming in, Danny going out. They're gonna be our two dealers for the night.
Two of the best. Well, if you like tournament poker, we got some big tournaments coming up in February. The 5th to the 18th, mark that on your calendar. Over $1.5 million in guarantees, including the main event, which will have a $1 million guaranteed prize pool. We're the only poker club in all of Texas with a hotel on site. You can stay right here for $85 during that tournament series. Use the code WPO25 at championsclubtexas.com or call that number in the bottom right. We're already running satellites for that tournament series. Milestone satellites on every Tuesday and Sunday up until the series starts, and then we'll have even more satellites. But for $350, you can win a package right now that'll get you into the Monster Stack, the Mystery Bounty, and the main event, as well as 300 in Lammers and some extra cash that you can use towards any of the tournaments during that tournament series. Super great value. Tuesdays and Sundays here at Champions. Check Poker Atlas for all the details. Back to the action. Blinds are now up to 75 and 150,000. It's going to put a lot of pressure on these shorter stacks. Richardson in the big blind right now for a huge percentage of his stack. And Norris just limping with Queen 10 suited here.
I don't hate this. One of those spots where if action just gets ridiculous in front of you, you can get off of it. But under the gun, some players might find a fold because they're afraid of that, but he wants to see the flop with it, decides to potentially just limp fold this.
And Lang just calling as well. Now, if Richardson decides to jam, both of those players may just call to try to ladder up. You'll see that sometimes in these final table situations where you're just trying to eliminate the short stack. He does find the best hand out of these three. Ace-Jack, a great hand to go with less than 10 big blinds.
Unless Norris or Lang were trapping, you just got to put it in with Ace-Jack here.
Norris decides to get out of the way with that big stack behind him. And this is an interesting spot for Lang because it's a pretty significant chunk of chips here, even though it's less than 10 big blinds. You have to figure when the big blind has that few chips, though, if you put any chips in the middle, you won't have to call that all in, you know, but
yeah,
he decides to get out of the way there, and that's actually a great result for Richardson, who basically picks up a free round of poker here and gets to wait for another quality hand.
Of course.
Yeah, gets his big blind ante back, and picks up 2 free big blinds as well. Plus a small blind, not bad. No sweat. But yeah, I do think that call, pretty optimistic from Lang. Knew he was probably going to have to fold pre-flop if raised. And even if you see the flop with the king 10 off, you're going to be dominated so often there. It's just tricky to navigate future streets. And as a bigger stack, you're perfectly fine with keeping some of the shorter stacks on the table. Allows you to apply pressure to all the other stacks. Handcuffs all the middling stacks. This one folds around. Gonna have blind v blind again. Richardson a premium. He's qualified with 7s. Raises and gets called.
Yeah, and interesting when a short stack, again, we talked about this earlier, if they choose to just open instead of getting their stack in there with less than 10 big blinds, that seems like a very strong hand. And wow. Binks, the K7. Norris now with a pair of 7s and Richardson with a set of 7s.
All in and a snap call. Great check by Richardson on the flop. Players see the case 7 there. Norris alive to running outs. That's one of them.
Oh, wow. A sweat. It's always a sweat.
Guy in black cards on the deck.
Richardson calling for black cards. And it's red, but not red enough for Norris. Richardson doubles and cripples Norris at the same time.
Yeah, Norris probably rethinking what happened just one hand ago where he limped in and did not call the all in for less than 10 bigs with queen 10 suited. Now getting almost stacked with a pair of 7s.
Huge pickup there for Richardson. Now is just even with Ike. Ike coming in, 3rd largest stack, but really hasn't been able to play any hands. Card distribution not favorable so far for Ike, but he's got chips. He can be patient. Ike, another one of those crushers, well known within the Houston poker community. And he's been on a couple of our final table streams here at Champions. He's got the size, he's got the skills, he's a presence at these tables. Ace Jack now for Ike. Early position. You might see some of the players on that side of the table look up to the sky a little bit. There are 2 TVs right behind the dealer. Those TVs are going to have the tournament clock on them.
Yeah, all of these players well aware of what the ladder structure looks like and the blind structure. Oh, wow. Lemche running into it here as Norris has picked up ace-king in the small blind, and McGee asking for a count here with suited connector. And I believe Norris's all-in is going to reopen. Lemche raises to 375. Norris all-in for 650. So the original raise is 250,000. Norris all in for 275,000, more than that. So it would reopen it if McGee calls.
Just barely.
Ike could re-raise. Yeah, it's so close. You got to do the math there. And that you don't want to get squeezed with a 9 high, so she gets out of the way. And we see that the equity would have been pretty good here against 2 different aces, but the last thing you want to do is make a call there and then have the player behind you go all in behind. So
Norris has the best of it currently, but as we all know with poker, live cards, or in this instance, 1 live card for Ike. They both hit the ace, hearts covered by Norris, the at-risk player. And removes an additional out from Ike.
Thanks, sir.
What you put me on?
Huh?
What you put me on?
I thought you had ace queen.
That's fine.
I put it in that thing.
double and then some for Norris, so he's right back in it.
I wanted to fold, but I put too much in there. He only had a little bit left. I couldn't
No
fold.
facts.
I kept praying that she raised so I could fold.
Come on, Ed, you messed up this plan.
I think I had kind of 10-3 or something.
No, her.
No,
No, it was her, yeah.
Yeah. He
Oh,
was
you weren't heard of
She was
it.
thinking about it
Oh,
for
I
a long
said
time.
him.
Yeah.
Suda connector or something.
that's a
Tough spot for Ike there. Really first hand of the stream. Besides the big blind defense that looked nice for him. And then now it's back to the Jack 5 type of cards being dealt to you.
You know, flop the card.
Red Kings buried in the cutoff.
good luck.
And
Ace,
Norris.
King back to back, but this time dominated by the Kings.
Man, round 2, guys.
Or king, yeah.
King.
So,
Ace Magnets
Ace King back to back.
versus the Ace King.
Nice. This is the one that matters, though.
Yeah, this is the one.
Can Richardson get the rest of Norris's chips? Running hearts available for Norris.
it's coming now. He got up.
Running chop outs as well.
If I get up, does that
You
counteract
better
it?
counter it. You better
No,
counter
you
it.
better stay down.
Oh, you better,
Well, neither of those are coming.
remember, you better get up and
Stay
counter
right
it.
where
Needs an ace.
I ain't tell you.
you stay where you
Does not get it.
Say these, brother.
And
Richardson does end up getting the rest of his chips, and that is going to end the run for J-Rock. Norris will be taking home 43-10 for his 7th place finish today. We are down to 6. That whole side of the table got eliminated.
what an orbit for Richardson there. The orbit hasn't even finished.
Yeah, he came into this final table
He gives
with
me
the
an extra
3rd shortest stack. Now he is the chip leader.
when I'm at work.
Navadas books wins during the fun sessions, you know.
Goes from, what was it, just about 900,000 when he was in his big blind. The blinds had just gone up. And now finds himself with the lead, as you mentioned. He's nearly gained 4 million chips within the last 4 hands.
I got all my run bat out of the way on that other table. Especially against the other dude.
We get some almost short stacks to chip.
And it was really that one hand that made all the difference, where you got the 2 limps and 2 folds.
Yep.
Picks up a couple extra big blinds. And now
I don't know that last one.
Wow, they
No.
Yeah, that pickup made it that much better when he doubles through Norris. Then Norris picks up more chips from across the table. And then Richardson gets all of those chips.
That's what they call
Every
it.
time I get some chips, you have to see how much I have.
a wild game.
That was earlier. Now you have chips.
I'm just messing. I'm just messing with you, man. I always want to know how much the guy on your left has for sure.
Paired flop. Definitely hitting Ike's range a lot more than McGee's, but Queen High will be good when it goes check, check again.
That's the next.
Checks through all streets and A good old computer hand collects that one.
I had ace jack that hand. When you asked if I could beat his queen 10, I had ace jack.
Nice.
I was like, I think that's the best hand.
Man, I lost my
I'm
chips
going
at the
with
wrong time.
He had
He
queen.
gave it all to you.
He had queen 10,
Queen
king
10.
10.
King 10.
There's nothing you can do about it.
I
Ace
figured,
queen.
knew you guys weren't raising. That's the best hand. I gotta go with it.
No, 100%.
This is always so crazy to me, the amount of information that I sometimes see players give.
I did that earlier.
Right.
They're still playing for 27,000 up top.
Yeah, just letting you know, I'll call it king 10 and then
Yeah.
fold if you raise. Maybe not every time, but I did it this one time.
Yeah. I'm not saying anything is wrong with it. I would not be giving away that information right now. But as we've seen time and time again, after some eliminations, people are literally just laddering up, earning more with each elimination. Nerves start to subside. Table talk starts to increase a little bit. They're having more and more fun with it as they make more and more money. Can I see one of our first multi-way hands here? Earlier we did have a short stack all in, which was taken more multi-way, but I believe this is the first multi-way flop.
What a flop for the little suited connector.
Yeah, big blind special, pair and flush draw. 2 overs for the other 2 players. And Lang's got to be feeling pretty good about his hand right now.
Yeah, I think if Lemke checks as he just did, Lang's definitely going to stab here. Try to build the pot a little bit. This board obviously favors the range of the big blind, but he also hit it.
It's always nice to represent and have it at the same time.
Big stack makes the call. 2 overcards. He's got the queen of hearts, so he could represent if the hearts come.
Good.
Lang will be a huge favorite. And the 5s will be good enough. It's going to go check, check, and Lang is going to recapture the chip lead, I believe. It's going to be very close.
Oh. 3.3.
Yeah, ace high or king high?
Ace high.
Ace high? All right, brother, be safe.
Yeah, be safe, man.
Huh?
Yeah, Lang now the big chip leader, 4.7 million. But now we have 4 players above that 4 million mark. And Sebesta and Ike
This pair was good.
both down below 10 big blinds now. Sebesta, one of the shorter stacks in the cutoff with ace-9. Giving it some thought here. This is a hand that you could shove with. You've got 2 big stacks in the blinds. Does go for it. And Lang with jacks in the small blind. He's not going anywhere. $1.475 million for Sebesta. Lang is definitely not thinking about folding. He's thinking about isolating or calling.
Jacks and the chip lead. I like some ISO action here.
Just goes with the call, giving Yusuf the opportunity to join him in swatting flies here, but Yusuf folding the better ace, which is actually good news for the jacks of Lang now. Sebesta needs to catch one of the two remaining aces. And so far, jacks in the lead.
Jacks hold.
Nice game, man.
And we lose another player. Down to 5. The rich get richer. Lang picking up another $1.5 million. And Ed Sebesta will be going home with $51.50. Great album. Great amount of money to win. And that'll be a great donation to the Holy Cross. Thanks for playing, Ed. Always a pleasure seeing you on the stream. We'll see you again. Down to 5 now.
Yeah, another just quick note and testament to Sebesta's success. He's only been playing a couple years from my understanding, the tournament grind. But over 1.6 million in total live earnings, according to Hendon Mob. Best live cash, a little over 300,000.
So everybody remaining at this table, guaranteed $6,210. First place again, $27,200. And if Lang keeps knocking people out, the odds of a deal being made become slim. McGee opening this one with big lick, 9-6 suited, and Lang on the button with ace-jack suited. Decides not to call, and it turns out to be a great fold as Yusuf right behind him in the small blind with King Kong.
If I'm going to mention Hendon Mob, I've got to mention it again for Yusuf. Nearly 500,000 in live earnings recorded. It's obviously booking more towards that here tonight.
Yeah, no slouches at this final table, that's for sure. 6-9 hitting something here. Pair and a gutter for McGee. Yusuf with the overpair. And McGee steps in it here after Yusuf checks.
It's a trap!
Yusuf jams it. He is the effective stack.
Check raising all in.
We'll put the 450 out and then see what's left.
McGee asking the dealer to pull in the bets and count the remaining chips. See how much this is going to cost her. It's going to be most of her chips. Would leave her with about $500,000.
Yeah, and Ike, really the only short stack here. Bottom pair in the gut shot, but on a flush board, not sure if she's going to want to risk it. It's really about, does she believe that she's best here? Is he check raising some sort of flush draw, straight draw? Definitely different situation if she was holding top pair or if she had some removal to the clubs.
Hard to make a pair and hold them. Hard to fold a pair.
Awful.
But she does find the fold here, but not before Yusuf picks up a lot of chips from that trappy play, checking that flop, letting her bet again. Definitely got more value that way than if he had let out.
Nine of diamonds.
Oh, nice.
Nice bet.
I've been there a million times.
Yeah.
Back to back don't happen very often, so. No reason why.
I think you did right.
Yeah. Yeah, time to swing.
That's right, yeah.
Swing.
I keep a close eye on him.
King 9 for Ike under the gun. He's in there. Puts a decent portion of his chips in play. Chip denominations. The pearly white and blues are 100,000 each, 25,000 for the greens, and Yusuf is going to put
Yusuf.
a lot of those 100,000s in with the queens.
And McGee with a quality hand here. It's five-handed. Ace-10 is a monster five-handed.
She jams it. It gets Ike to fold.
Nice.
He's thinking, I could potentially ladder here.
Yeah.
And he might. McGee at risk now. After that last pot between McGee and Yusuf, McGee the effective stack and now at risk, drawing to an ace and hits it.
Wow. The pot of the tournament so far. Almost 7 million in chips here. Whichever player wins this will be the chip leader. And now McGee in huge favorite here.
Yeah, you can sense some of the frustration there from Yusuf.
Nice.
And the ace-10 is going to get it.
Deuces
six?
never loses.
Oh,
No,
deuces?
deuces. You know, deuces.
And McGee
goes
back
for
on
it.
top.
Gets rewarded. Frankly, a lot of players would fold that there. Open from the shortest stack on the table. A 3-bet to isolate from another middling and leading stack. She goes with the ace-10, gets rewarded.
Thank you.
Deuce, deuce.
It don't matter. You weren't playing.
Exactly.
You didn't have anything.
Right?
I was gonna say something else, but,
Oh, the
But I
live stream's
can't.
going, huh? No.
but I can't.
Oh, you can say whatever you want.
I know what you're about to say.
She can't give her angel reputation away right now.
Yusuf still reeling from that last hand, forced to fold a little ace wheel here. Gave it some thought, but it's hard. It's a hard situation. When you're five-handed, obviously any ace is a good hand, but you also don't want to steam off chips, right? So you're going to think a little bit harder about your play, and he decides to fold this one. Obvious frustration after that huge pot, which would have put him way in the lead chip-wise. McGee flopping open-ended here. Defending the small blind with 9-5 suited. Being rewarded with a really favorable flop.
300. 12.
McGee coming.
Check raising.
Yeah, sizable check raise. Goes 3x and takes it.
And you talked about it early on at this final table. McGee has a very aggressive style of play, and we see that paying off here in these last couple of hands. Now has over 8 million of the 19 million chips in play, closing in on half of all the chips five-handed at this table.
And obviously, these four guys up against McGee, they've played with her. Not just today, played with her before. We've seen a lot of showdowns, so you don't have to have complete information as we do, the viewers and commentators here. You know she's getting after it. It's frankly hard to play against.
Yeah, and nobody else is hitting the 2-3-4 flop. She might have smashed it.
Yeah.
They don't know yet, but yeah.
Easy to play against straightforward players, but if players have a more aggressive or looser style, it's not exactly ABC. Fives for Yusuf under the gun, and he rips it. Richardson with eights. This is a tough one. This is right on that threshold.
Yeah, easy to jam with eights, harder to call.
He does go over the top, though. He's hoping he's up against maybe a drawing hand. Ace king, ace queen, ace jack, any ace X. He's going to see the good news. Way out in front, eights versus fives. Yusuf has been dealt some premiums tonight. Very accomplished tournament player. Gets cooled off with the queens versus ace 10 and now at risk.
I had a 10. I had 10.
What'd you have, Toe Truck?
I had 10.
Nothing.
Well, running hearts now possible for the fives, and there is a heart. So more outs for him. Needs a 5 or a heart.
Wow.
And gets
it.
the heart. And now it's Richardson on the end of a terrible bad beat.
He's a freaking cat.
Always a sweat in this game.
I need bars on me lives right now.
He hit me on that one big.
I need bars on me lives.
Ike with 375,000 has two opportunities to ladder up, but both of the at-risk players doubling.
Yeah, just over 2 big blinds for him. He's going to have to find a hand.
The only good news for him is he now comes into the button.
Yeah, now Richardson with less than 10 big blinds is going to be the big blind next hand. So he's probably going to want to try to double his stack. But when you have somebody with 2 big blinds, the optimal play is to just fold.
We have bad aim Benny, I assume. Benny Harris in chat saying the 3-outer for Yusuf was rough. Owed that one with the queens versus ace 10. Richardson, ace wheel good enough to put all the chips in.
And Ike loving this, hoping somebody will stack him. And Yusuf finds a better ace. Not a great ace, though. He could obviously fold here. We see that he's a huge favorite.
Yeah.
Richardson's jamming range is going to be pretty wide. But as we were saying, with that other short stack of the table, with Ike only having 2 big blinds, he really shouldn't be jamming this wide.
Finish it off.
And that's kind of the leveling war that you have mentally. But
I like this pay a big blind.
yeah, it does get the fold.
Just pay a big blind.
For sure.
Buys himself an orbit.
Thought for sure you were.
Typically, that's going to be a ace-8 suited plus type of call.
Hey, you should definitely call.
You can have a stack, yeah. I will.
Some information given, but Yusuf saying he'd rather wait.
Oh,
No issue risking
you got him
a third of his chips.
You just got him now, you know.
Again, keep the shorter stacks on the table. Retain the ability to apply some pressure.
I give y'all opportunity right now to chop.
Be patient and get it in good.
If not, y'all gonna be in trouble. Yes or no? Y'all want to chop it evenly?
How much you want to take, 2K?
You love it.
Okay, y'all in trouble now. You done messed up. You done messed up. I'm about to go on the heater.
Ike using the power of karma. Everybody knows in poker that the first person to say no to a deal is always the next person out.
475.
That's just how poker works.
I've definitely seen it 96% of the time, I would say.
Yeah. Not all of the time, especially if Ike is asking with just about 2 bigs and the 5-handed, those blinds come around very fast, obviously.
You make me sad now.
It's a game we don't do, so
Easy for him to say, huh?
Exactly. He makes final tables all the time, probably.
Probably. He does.
I know. I'm the little guppy in the big pond, man.
Blind v blind. Short stack into chip leader. Do we see the first walk of the night?
I don't know if I can get a limp through or not, so.
We do.
Probably not. She was definitely raising.
Damn, I should have shoved. I had Jack 5.
There we go. See the first lie about a player's holdings.
But I appreciate the thought.
When they're giving away all this free info, it's nice to see a return to poker.
Ike almost all in for the big blind.
Damn, don't try to take my 25K. Man,
A lot of places is the Andy first.
Making sure it's
damn.
Some places is the
calm
Andy
down.
first.
Got 50,000 behind. So in theory, he could fold this and see one more hand, but there's no way.
I gotta look. I gotta know what I need to hit.
All right.
There's no shame in everybody.
Oh, he is all in because
We're showing blinds up.
yeah, the blinds are up to 200K now.
I don't know if he would.
Not a terrible hand, though. I did look at it already. Oh, what a chop.
It was one of them.
See who gets a free roll here.
And this is really bad news because he's in the big blind. He's going to lose half his ante if they do chop. So he's going to lose chips.
Yep.
At least I survived another round.
And that does it.
Oh yeah. But we got two
Yeah,
outs.
do my
I had a
five.
5 also.
Oh,
Come on, man. Get in there, man.
If I'm in her spot, of course.
Yeah.
But I can't just flat, then she raises, I gotta fold.
He stole 100K from me though.
No, I just sold 25.
There you go. You got more. You put 200K, you got a 300 back.
Just like magic.
I don't know what to tell you.
I lost half of mine.
I don't know what to tell you.
But it's okay. I got another round. I only got to put 100, so I still got 175. I don't like my hand. If I don't like my hand, you better believe I'll fold.
Let's see, were they all folding you?
Lang's going to have a pretty wide defense range here.
I read the fold me, but
Can Gary give me 1,000%? I'm not giving him my big money.
oh, I know you're not. I know you're not.
Queen 10 suited pretty strong in the cutoff for Richardson. Just calls.
And I like this play because if he can eliminate Ike, he does ladder up. It doesn't cost him that much to limp in, and then he's hoping that everybody else will limp in behind.
Yeah.
Eliminate the shortest stack.
Look now. I was gonna call it 75 dark.
But now he's going to see the flop with Lang.
7-8 of spades over there.
Something like that.
The best hand gets better. Lang with backdoor clubs, though. And backdoor straight outs.
And this really should be hand over. This type of board obviously favoring cutoff and the limp range, given the dynamic we were just referencing.
No, you don't want.
Knockout type of holdings,
Hey, Mike.
connecting to that type of flop.
I'm gonna have to watch the live stream too. Look at the
You didn't
Jack
give me
4.
no chance to
Yeah,
snatch
no
it, you know?
chance. I had Jack 4.
I had 24.
There's still 2 more cards.
I was winning for the time being though, huh? Damn, shit.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
I had to watch the video later.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably so.
185 on the button.
Ace King, man.
No way.
No way.
Possible.
See what Ike has to work with. Suited ace 8 under the gun, out of the way.
I'm definitely watching that stream.
Ruh-roh.
Attractive 3.
And McGee comes with a raise.
Ask for her raise. That's the maximum value.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But Ike gets in there. Suited king, queen. In great shape.
Wow, really tight fold from Lang. McGee's raise, though, was three big blinds.
No future.
What?
Didn't want to get involved with the king jack.
Yeah, you're in a good spot.
Respecting the raise, and now Ike in great shape to more than triple up.
Let's see if I got him dominated or not.
First one over wins.
Cards are not on their backs yet. McGee first to table, and
I told you first one over wins.
then Ike does.
Lord of mercy.
Oh, you were right.
Fuck me.
Needing some help now as McGee hits the sidecar.
I was waiting for that, you know.
Oh, God. Nice hand.
And that'll do it.
Wow, and
The first one over.
Lang had king jack.
Nice hand.
But that is going to do it for Ike.
Appreciate it.
Put up a good fight.
We get the
We'll end up with 5th place, taking home 62-10 tonight, and now we are down to just 4 players.
Wait till the break, and he'll move.
Oh, we got 16 minutes. Yeah.
They're fighting for $27,200. Outlasting a field of 396 players today. What a great turnout. It was a wild day here at the club. If you like tournament poker, we got a big series coming up here in February. You could be on this stream table. We'll be streaming a lot of those events. February 5th to the 18th here at Champions Club. Check out Poker Atlas or our website, Champions Club Texas, for all the information.
McGee now. King Queen. And a big raise under the gun. Look to see this happen time and time again now. She has a pretty dominating lead on the field and can really just open any two at this point.
Yeah, she has just surpassed half the chips in play with 4 players left here. 9.5 million out of 19.8. Just under half the chips.
We do have some predictions or favorites being picked in chat now, so let us know. John McGuire saying Ruth and Tow Truck heads up. That's McGee and Lang. Benny also saying McGee's tough, but like to see Yusuf and Lang swing things back around. No love for Richardson, I guess. I'll take his A7 right now. Gets a quick call.
Yeah, the big chip leader with a big suited connector. But Richardson in the lead here. It's going to be a flip, though.
Yeah, you have to. You got a big stack.
Richardson, another player that's played on stream here before and out on the floor quite a few times as well. Gets in there in the 1-3, all the way up to 5-10 streets.
Or 10 o'clock. See, I told
It's
you.
a sweat now.
Sweat. 9 or a club, as well as jack or queen.
Well, close enough.
But the ace high holds.
Ace of hearts. Yeah, I got to learn to call cards a little better.
No, there's too many outs.
Deuce diamond.
Okay, Will.
It's a little bit of a breather. Richardson now chipping up to about even with Yusuf.
And putting a dent in the chip leader, which Lang is enjoying seeing that. He's got about 6 million. She's got about 8 million now.
After the break? After the break, we can. Okay.
Nice hand.
Thank you.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm big.
You see the guys spreading out a little bit there.
I thought for sure you had a bigger ace. I'm
We've played on this table as well.
happy to see what you have.
You've dealt on this table.
Hope that it worked out.
I will say those corner positions are my least favorite. It is a huge table, but this interesting Hey Arnold football shape that we've got going, that football head, makes it a little weird.
Yeah, it feels kind of tight over there,
Yeah.
even though there's a lot of physical space. You just feel like you're in the corner.
Ace King for McGee.
nice.
Got blind on blind.
And she's established a pattern of raising big already, and it's been turning over hands that are not as big as this one, but she's going to show.
I had a hand I was supposed to raise on the button. I'm glad I didn't. I was dominated.
Oh, no, you were.
McGee giving a lot of information on this final table to the other players, but it's a mixed bag. She shows the ace-king. She also shows the 9-6. You know, you just never know what she's going to turn over. Heads up to the flop here. Blind versus blind. Yusuf picking up a club draw. Also has the best hand with the jack high. Nobody going after it. Gut shots for both players now. And Lang is going to stack out a bet. And he does fire 1.5 bigs. Half pot.
So much equity for Yusuf. He's got to see the river here.
Yeah, easy call with the combo draw. Not the best river. If Lang can pull the trigger again, he likely will pick up this pot. He just has to ask himself, what is Yusuf calling with? If he thinks it's a draw, then he has to fire again. It's the only way he can win this pot. And he does. Makes the bet. It's going to be really hard for Yusuf to find a hero call with jack high.
Not just that, but he's also blocking the most sensible draw, a flush draw. So
makes it less likely that Lang has that draw, and he doesn't. Good aggressive play there by Lang. Picks up some more chips, and keeping the pressure on the shorter stacks is the name of the game on these final tables. If McGee's not going to do it, then Lang has to.
Yeah, Lang also in a great position here. He gets to see what McGee does first. So it does handcuff him some of the time, but if she gets out of the way, then he has the opportunity to put pressure on the short stacks behind.
She opens this one to $500,000. He's going to get rid of that small pocket pair for that very reason. Yusuf also folding a small pocket pair.
Yeah, it's also just tough because if he just flats there, Yusuf or Richardson have the opportunity to come over the top, and then he's just torching a couple bigs.
Yeah, because if they ship, it's very likely that McGee raises over the top and picks up that dead money.
Yeah. And you don't want to give that dead money to McGee or the short stacks at this point.
Yeah, you want to keep whittling them down.
King Queen now for Lang, first to act.
And four-handed, this is a monster, but again, McGee in the big blind this time. He doesn't get to see what she does first.
450.
But if you're folding King Queen four-handed in position, you might as well quit playing. He raises to 450. And now one of the shorter stacks looking down at a suited king will get the chips in the middle. And if Lang makes the call here, he's going to be a big favorite. Having the queen of clubs and the better kicker. I think if it's suited, it's a snap call. He's going to give it some thought, but I think he's going to end up finding the call here. King Queen's just too strong.
You still have a very playable stack if wrong. But you also double Richardson to equal your stack at that point.
Does opt to fold here. Yeah, doesn't want to give Richardson a double. Richardson's going to have a pretty wide opening range, but there's going to be a lot of aces in there. King Queen wouldn't be in love with that even if he turns over like an ace-7, as he has shown a few times before. Those kind of middling aces.
So King Queen currently in the raise fold bucket for Lang. but tournaments very dynamic. Stacks and table configuration changing constantly as blinds do as well. So that may change later on for Lang.
An uncharacteristic limp for McGee, but blind versus blind doesn't want to tangle with the other large stack after the two short stacks have already folded.
Yeah, huge incentive for very passive play between these two. McGee does turn open-ended and gets there.
Yeah, very well disguised straight. Now going for a little value. Unlikely to get looked up here by Jack High. And again, showing the goods.
Eight tray, the winning hand in the WSOP main event, but not going to see the flop here. Yusuf gets a walk. For all those tracking with a pedometer, maybe. It's the second walk of the night.
Tournaments usually are.
Let's get this action going.
Tournaments are usually pretty boring to watch on stream.
Right.
I mean,
Usually, but not with this commentary team. Amazingly entertaining.
We both sound very alert,
So black.
awake,
I saw you staring.
engaged even. As I'm sure all the other viewers at home cuddled up in bed are as well.
I've had 2 Celsius today, or is it Celsius?
Celsius in the plural. If, translated to Latin.
Shooting daggers at your big friend.
Lang opening this one on the button, suited ace 10, pressuring the small and the smaller stacks in the small blind and big blind. They both fold.
That wouldn't have worked that time, huh?
No, not at all.
I might have had 2 live.
Okay, new game. Take a shot of NyQuil every time a player tables a card and doesn't have to.
That'd have been very interesting
Yeah.
for the stream.
Actually, don't do that. You might fall asleep before we find a winner.
What was that? I was nodded off for a moment there.
We got that one earlier. I did 7-4 and made sure it clicked
Oh, shit.
against top set.
Wow. Nice.
Quiet, they're talking about 7-4.
I was like, for the stream.
Dan woke up.
Saying that, yes.
But it wasn't on the stream.
Yeah, I heard you shouting that out. I didn't know you made it straight flush.
Yeah.
A straight flush versus top set. That would have been amazing to see on the stream.
I tried.
Limp fold from Murchison. McGee jams.
Oh, I had 2 overs.
Had a pair buried in the big blind. If you're playing the game, that's 2 shots of NyQuil, by the way. She did table the 4s.
Yeah.
I lost the last one, so
I hope you've got multiple bottles.
Up over 9 million again for her.
I'm just saying.
Yep.
To each their own. That'd be pretty cool.
Any ace, any king. Pretty strong in a 4-handed final table, but maybe not king deuce first to act.
Do it for me, yeah.
Richardson open and suited gapper on the dealer button. McGee with the same suit and a worse gapper makes the call in the small blind. And Lang gets to close the action here with 4-6. Going to go 3 ways to the flop. It'd be hard for clubs to get there. Comes out all red cards. Richardson flopping a pair. Lang with a gutter. And McGee with a bigger gutter. Everybody kind of getting a little piece of this. If there's a cash game, there'd be some action. I think it's just going to be a bet and take it for Richardson now.
Oh. Yeah, he don't matter. Thank you.
Well, I guess not. McGee will defend. And take the lead.
Just like that. Gets rewarded for the defense.
Richardson picks up a gut shot to go along with this pair. But McGee has improved to a pair of 9s. Goes check, check. 2 pairs now for McGee. Very wet board, though. Any 6 makes a straight. It will not prevent her, though, from leading out. Such a tough spot here for Richardson. Half of his chips. Just so many hands that beat him now. With the check, check on the turn, though, he could think the 8 is best and make a hero call. Be a devastating mistake to ship it all in here. Just goes with the call. And gets the bad news.
Thanks.
Now a huge favorite. More so than before.
Now over half the chips in play.
Yeah, 11.5 for McGee. And you saw the 2 other players leave the table. Players will now be on a short break, and pretty soon here we'll be right back to the action. Stick with us. It's going to be a short break.
Just a couple minutes left of this player break. Be getting the cards back in the air shortly. Here they come. Looks like we've repositioned the players a little bit. A little bit more comfortable, a little better angle for the cameras. And another look at the payouts. Everybody guaranteed $8,070 at this table. First place, $27,200. And we were looking at the chip stacks. Before that, McGee with over half the chips in play.
And there was a bit of a color up as well. When you've got half the chips in play, why not make it a little bit easier to move chips around?
Yeah, McGee now with some of those orange plaques. Each of those plaques worth 1 million chips. And Richardson with less than 1 million in his entire stack. Blinds have gone up. I believe we're going to be at 125, 250. Verified. So 4 big blinds for Richardson, and he gets it in here with Jack 10.
One of my favorite hands, and definitely a pretty good hand to go with.
McGee making the call here with 9-10 on the button. And Lang with 7-4 diamonds. Get it in the middle, buddy. He's laughing at me specifically.
Knows he has to fold. Knows he can't say much about it right now, but gets out of the way.
And Richardson's going to be in great shape to double here, dominating the 9-10 of McGee. She can afford to lose the million, but obviously everybody's at this table is hoping that she somehow wins this one. And she does flop an open-ender here. Lots of chop-outs. But Richardson's Jack 10 still the best. And he will double.
So we are told that we will get the table audio back up relatively soon here. But in the meantime, we'll just focus on the cards, the action, and you get to listen to our soothing voices a little bit more intensely. Jack 10 now for McGee, and she comes in with a hefty raise.
It worked for that other guy. Let's see what happens here when it gets around to Richardson in the big blind.
And he does get off of it. Did really have the best hand dealt there with the Jack 10, given the whole cards. Yeah, it definitely seems like McGee's going to apply the gas, all pressure, for likely the rest of the tournament, unless some of these other players, the guys, can chip away at her stack. King Queen for Lang. It's suited. He's coming in. Goes for 550. And 9s for Yusuf. Yusuf now the shortest stack and pretty close in chips to Richardson.
Gets it in there.
Again, earlier we did see Lang put the King Queen. It was King Queen off during that instance, but from similar position, pretty similar dynamics as well.
McGee asking for a count here.
And cutting it out.
Yeah, if she comes with just a call, it'll be interesting to see what Lang decides to do. We've seen him fold King Queen already once. This one is suited. He could also call here and just try to double up on the short stack. But he doesn't really want to tangle with McGee. Yeah, he comes with the call as well. So 3 ways. Giant pot here, 5.1 million in the middle. If Yusuf comes away with this one, he's going to be in great shape now, basically tied with Lang. If McGee wins this, she's going to be a dominating favorite. And if Lang picks it up, he's going to be basically tied with McGee. So this pot right here is going to really tell the story of the rest of this stream.
Swing and a miss, and it checks all the way through, but Queen 10 on the end, just pipping Yusuf, will send him to the rail.
And the rich get richer. McGee now with almost all of the chips in play, and Yusuf going home with $8,070. And now down to just 3 players. Everybody guaranteed 5 figures at this point. $12,250 to third, $19,000 to second, and $27,200 to first place. And right now, Ruth McGee, a dominating favorite to take home that $27K.
200.
2,000.
It's too late for me to do any math, so I don't know.
Like 450. You made 450.
No.
Yeah.
Couple thousand for a fold and a hand, not bad.
Right?
Oh, what's my
I'll chop.
125? 125.
I'll chop.
1, 2, 50. Thank you. You chop.
I'll ICM it.
Blind v blind.
Check.
You came in pretty good. You ended up pretty good.
King high, a big favorite for McGee.
Now I don't remember what my cards are.
Either. I forgot to.
Check.
Those.
Check.
They went 10.
King.
No stopping her.
Not even done stacking chips and has to stack a couple more.
First world problems.
And we did hear the first serious mention of ICM from Richardson.
Thanks.
But McGee kind of just laughing it off. Has such a dominating lead. Doesn't need to make any deal of any sort. And Lang commenting that Richardson has done a really good job of laddering up. came into the final table, the third shortest stack, and now it's him and two others.
750.
McGee still has her foot on the gas here. Opens with King 9 suited. Lang looking down at King Jack. Again, not wanting to tangle with the big stack. Gets out of the way. Richardson, though, with pocket pair.
Choo-choo. All in.
Getting them in the middle. And with that other king in the muck, he's got a good shot here to win this coin flip.
Would it make you feel better if I tell you I folded King Jack?
No. That'll make
Are
me
you
feel
scared
worse.
of the 9 or what?
That'll make me feel worse when the king comes on the river.
So far, so good for the sixes. This double would put Richardson in second place in chips and Lang down at the bottom. Picks up more outs. A diamond now good for him as well. It's going to be a pure run out. Sixes will hold and more than a double for Richardson.
All right, gotta win your offense.
That'll put him up above 10 big blinds. Lang at just about 11.
There's 1 million.
It is.
Nice hand.
Thank you, thank you. I wasn't feeling too confident when I looked at the 6 as my first card, but when I saw the second one, I was like, all right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Last time I tried this, it didn't work, so I'll just let you have it. Oh yeah, it wouldn't work this time either. I had a nice little limp in hand, but I didn't want to get punished again. And punishment was coming.
You're welcome.
Bless you. Let it out, man. Let it out.
Draggers on the button. Richardson now has raising chips. Opens this one up, 5 1/4. Suited ace 9 for McGee, 3-handed. That's a monster hand. And she's got the monster stack. Jams it all in. Lang with an ace as well. Gets out of the way. Ace 5 offsuit, obviously not good enough with an open and a jam. Now Richardson wondering if he can make a small pocket pair hold again.
I didn't want to race again.
McGee applying the pressure, keeping the short stack short.
I don't think I was supposed to fold that, but I didn't want to do it again.
All right, I'll tell you what I had. What'd you have?
Pocket 3s.
There's a race.
Well, yeah, I figured it was, or I mean,
I had ace medium suited.
I didn't think I was gonna win another race, so pick a better spot. It was a good play.
500.
Min click from the big stack this time. Jack 8 on the button. And she'll steal the blinds. As many chips as McGee has, she can pretty much open with any hand.
Yeah, actually really works to her advantage to raise fold, pick one sizing, go with it, raise fold when needed,
What?
and it completely hides the strength of her hand at that point. The shoulder stacks can jam over the top or give action, and she has all the power to spin the wheel or not. Likely gonna play just like this for a little bit. Bunch of raise and takes, or cards will end up on their backs. She's just gonna chip away at Lang and Richardson's stack, blind them down, try to give them the minimum.
All in.
And yeah, even can put pressure like this. Lang, gotta fold it.
Must be a fun position to be in to have that many chips and just be able to swing away with just about any hand. McGee opening another one, this time Queen 8. And Lang with Queen 8 suited. Makes the call.
Couldn't even defend.
You couldn't defend?
Well, most likely it'd be a chop here. Lang with a slight free roll.
500.
And picks up another club. McGee continues to apply pressure. This is a tough spot for Lang. He's got to draw. But this is half of his chips. He does make the call. And McGee checks it back there. If she fired again, he probably had to fold.
River.
Chop it up.
Had Doral Brunson.
Hibiscus Flower now in the chat with a great idea. Smash that like button if you're out there watching. Also be sure to hit the subscribe and the notification bell if you want to get great poker content in your feed. Champions Poker Live. We typically stream 4 times a week. Most often cash games, but we do a lot of tournament streams as well. We've got the Winter Poker Open coming up next month. We'll be streaming a lot of big tournaments during that series, including the main event with a $1 million guarantee. We are the only poker club in all of Texas with a hotel on site. Be a great place to come stay and play. February 5th to the 18th. Check out our website, championsclubtexas.com, for more information. Lang with Ace-4 on the button, opening to 500,000. And Richardson with King Jack in the small blind. If he ships here, this is a great opportunity for McGee to just get out of the way and let the two small stacks battle it out. One of them will either go broke or get crippled here.
She does get out of the way, and tough spot for Lang.
The snap, I'm all right. Now, whatever happens, happens now.
$1.8, right? Pocket threes, huh?
I folded pocket threes.
A lot of chit-chat between the small stacks.
Lang
And one of
finds the
them is
call.
about to get stacked or get crippled here as we have an all-in and a call.
I folded 9-10 before the flop. I wanted to say that.
King Jack takes the lead. Gut shot now
King's up, right?
for Lang, hoping Richardson makes a second pair. But the King Jack will hold, and now Lang will be down to less than a big blind.
Yeah, 9-10
Wish you would have called.
9-10
You
gets
call our
there,
fold.
Shit.
Richardson has been very fortunate with the short stack. All stream came in with less than 10 bigs. Now he is very likely to end up heads up in this tournament as Lang has to put his remaining stack in the dark. Less than one big blind left for him.
Decides not to look at it. Dealt 8-6 off. Richardson and McGee limp in to take this multi-way and have a shot at knocking out the 8-6.
Richardson with the best of it going in with his 9 high.
Check.
But McGee flops the only pair.
Check.
8-6 open-ended.
And 9-7 makes a better pair now. It's going to be Richardson knocking him out.
All right, well, King or Queen, right here.
That will do it with one of our stream regulars and favorites, Mr. Lang, Tow Truck Jason. Good for third place and $12,250 on a 400 buy-in. Not a bad day.
Not at all. And then there were two. Heads up.
Good luck.
Ruth McGee and Michael Richardson battling it out for $27,200. Second place, just over $19,000. So they're really fighting for $8K here. And McGee with a dominating lead here, 3-1 chip lead.
Out of these two, she paid the big one.
And in heads-up play, the big blind is first. The button gets the small blind. Tournament director David Phelps doing a great job. as always. And here we go. First hand of heads up play.
$750.
And as you said earlier, McGee really doesn't even need to look at her hands now. She can just open every single hand and raise fold when necessary. She can afford to lose a flip and still have the lead.
Heads up play can be difficult for players at times. It's hard to play down to heads up, obviously, so very limited exposure for majority of players.
Yeah, I have 0 heads up experience, but I've watched a lot of it, so I feel like I'm an expert.
Definitely gonna see a lot of flops, or should be, but makes it tricky to navigate when ranges get so wide. I actually know a handful of people that have that mindset of making no deals, or at least if they do get down to heads up, to do a little bit of a save, but play it out partially just for experience sake. Nines on the button now for Richardson. Again, button, small blind, the same thing. Makes triple nines as McGee makes top pair. And that's nines full.
And the trap is set, checking the set, and it check again. What is going on here? Now betting the minimum. And getting the minimum.
Nice hand.
Thank you.
Suited ace 9 for McGee.
9. 9.
Goes to 900,000, adjusting her sizing.
Surprised you didn't bet the turn on that hand.
I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if she continues to go big like that, or pick different sizes based off hand strength. A hand as strong as that, you want some action. You want to see a flop. Richardson now dealt kings.
Let's see if he makes an adjustment here after that last big hand where he really should have doubled, especially with her hitting top pair there. Kept it too small, and this time he just calls with the kings.
Limps in there and That 5 does have a little work in between the 6 tray.
Does bet just over a big blind and gets a call, so picking up a little bit here.
8-5 now, drawing dead at the board. Went check, call, flop. Goes check, fold, turn.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy for us to say, obviously, having perfect information, but I'd like to see Richardson get a little bit more aggressive, especially with these bigger hands, and use her aggression to his advantage. I think a lot of times she's going to click back with weaker holdings. We've seen her turn over 6-9. We've seen her turn over a lot of hands that not necessarily should be raising, like this one here, Queen Deuce. Richardson with ace queen, jamming it all in and taking down that raise there.
Yeah, picks up $1 million there. Really nice pickup. And that can be the problem sometimes with some of the larger sizings by McGee. Yes, she should be putting some pressure on with the bigger stack, but doesn't necessarily have to go super big each time. Just needs to see flops and then apply some pressure from there.
And now Richardson, with some chips to play with, is going to start using some aggression of his own here. Jack 10 suited, raising it up. 625.
It almost seems like there's been a bit of a shift. McGee almost electing to go a little more passive and try to limit the amount of chips that she's giving to Richardson, at least in the amount per hand. But if it's a high frequency, every pot going Richardson's way for 10 hands in a row is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, poker is definitely a game of momentum, both in reality and psychologically. Once you win a few pots in a row, you start to feel more confident about your play, start to feel like you can be a little bit more aggressive. You've got some chips that you can afford to lose now. And McGee started this with a 3-1 chip lead. Now she's down below 2-1. And that's going to have a huge psychological effect on Richardson. He's going to feel like, oh, I got a shot here now. If I double up one more time, I'm going to be the leader, you know.
Yeah, he's frankly looking pretty comfortable right there. Plenty of chips to work with. Suited Jack now. Ace wheel.
Nice.
Comes in big.
And she's trying to take back that momentum. I like this. Any ace heads up is going to be a big hand. I like Richardson's raise. Continuing to be aggressive. He's got a suited hand. It's totally fine. And he's doing what he should be doing there too, raising small and folding when necessary.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be pretty consistent within that sizing too. It's just over 2 big blinds. Every once in a while, it seems like there's a shift in the force when it comes to GTO and solved poker. varying sizes for raises. Seems like it used to always be 2.5 and now is sized down slightly to more like 2.1 or 2.3. What you'll typically see online and from quite a lot of players.
Now, the blinds have gone up to 150 and 300,000, so it's going to change the sizing a little bit here. But McGee goes big, 1 million, and Richardson jams it all in with tens.
Nice hand.
And gets the call from the ace-6, and he's going to be a big favorite here to double up through the chip leader. And stack sizes basically would flip if that happens. He will be at risk, though. Obviously, McGee has more chips, and there are 3 other aces in this deck. So far, so good for the tens.
That one's a quarter short.
Just needs to fade an ace on the river. McGee makes a pair, but not good enough. And Richardson now
Nice hand.
Thank you.
with the chip lead for the first time since heads-up play started, and the stacks almost exactly flipped from the start of that hand. Richardson now at 12 million to McGee's 7.3. This is not over, though.
2, 4, 5, 6 million 75,000.
2, 4, 5. 6 million what?
75,000.
75,000. Okay, there you go.
What a hand and what a shift of momentum.
Richardson now with a look at the clock, the payouts, the blind structure.
Oh, straight up.
Straight up.
Asks if McGee wants to do anything there, but wants to play it out just straight up.
Let's just play it out. Let's just play it.
Or sounds like wanted to do just a straight up chop.
Yeah, I think she was offering a straight up chop, but he's 2-1 at this point. He's not. I wouldn't take that.
Again, momentum's such a big thing in poker. And now looking at ace queen, the heat is on for Richardson.
Let's see if he sticks with that same 2.2x or so sizing.
How much?
800.
Goes a little bigger this time,
Yeah, I was getting ready to do that.
but not 3x. And McGee with a pretty looking hand here as well. Suited Jack 8. She'll make the call and see the flop.
Ace high flop with one club. Best hand does pair up.
And a small continuation bet. Sizes down to 500K.
McGee going to be looking for a club, but does not find it on the turn. Definitely expect another barrel from the ace-queen here.
Yeah, sizes up to just over half pot, and McGee with the quick fold. And now Richardson up over 14 million. Just about 3-1. So we're back to the stack sizes of when heads up play started. But Richardson has the big stack now, and McGee the shorter one. See how she navigates this, having been so aggressive when she had the giant stack. Seven four suited, got to raise that. And she does. 650. Richardson with the suited queen. We'll get in there.
Check.
Paired board, king high. And McGee continuing to apply pressure. She sizes up instead of the smaller C bet. Goes 1 million into 1.6. And 7-4 gets there.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that Lang found his way to this final table and his third place finish, doubling up with 7-4. Making a straight flush, and that's your origin story. 7-4 of diamonds, your first lifetime straight flush.
Yeah, it's still my favorite hand. I do love to play it. It's been costing me a lot of money since I talk about it all the time, but, you know, got to play the character.
Yeah. Always fun when the stream players play into it a little bit. Not in this hand, though. 9-4 suited and king 7 off. 9-4, some backdoors here. Bets in position. And gets called. Board pairs itself on the bottom end. Checks through. Now king 7. River's a pair.
Front door clubs get there. Richardson reaching for chips here. He's going to represent having hit the draw. Bets half the pot. And gets the fold out of the pair. Nice play by the chip leader. Keeping that aggressive action up there. Once the draw gets there, the bet, check, bet line makes a little bit more sense. Pretty fast pace on this heads up. Sometimes you'll see a little bit more deliberate, slow down play when it gets heads up in a bigger tournament like this, but these guys have been playing with each other for hours and hours today.
Yeah, they're looking at just locking it up. Lock up the win. Play it down quickly. Checks through quickly on that flop.
Gotta feel relatively comfortable with the king high in this spot with 2 aces on board. But McGee's going to put max pressure on here, betting $1 million into 1.5. And at that point, it doesn't really make sense to bluff cash. You just don't want to give her a bunch of chips there. You either lead with the king high or you get rid of it. I like to see McGee continuing with that aggressiveness, even though she's the shorter stack. That's the way to get the chips back.
Yeah. Players have been using position and more absolute hand strength during the heads-up match here. Interesting to see if we see some creative bluffs or any check raises develop within the hands to come here. Queen Jack lifts it. 800,000. So he is staying consistent in sizing here. Does make a pair with the backdoor diamonds to go. Backdoor flush draw of her own. The Queen of Spades.
And again, Richardson going with the down bet for the C bet. Goes 650 and just picks it up right there.
Yeah, real textbook stuff so far from Richardson during this heads up.
Yeah, and you like to see it because he's not giving away a lot of information about the strength of his hand with the sizing. And I wouldn't say that McGee is either. She is changing the bet sizing, but it doesn't seem to be based on what the holding is. She just kind of is all over the map, which is another way to randomize. But I like the consistency of Richardson.
Ace wheel goes 750 and suited ace 8 in the big blind. Easy defense and even a very strong 3-bet candidate here.
And being out of position for the rest of the hand, you may want to go ahead and raise at this point. And he does. Gets it all in, and McGee with the quick call with the ace wheel.
It's my turn to win.
And now
Nice hand.
it is McGee who needs some help here as the shorter stack.
If McGee does survive this, it just evens things out, finds the 5 in the window.
Wow, 10 million in the middle.
Oh, come on.
Diamonds for a sweat, 4 for a chop.
Always a sweat.
Pick a 4.
I have an ace of hearts.
Diamond. Nice.
Board pairs, and McGee doubles.
And
takes
now,
back the chip lead.
As you said, evens things out. She does take the lead, but it's basically a statistical tie at this point, 10.2 to 9.6. If they were going to make a deal, this would be the time to do it.
I was going for a chop on the river. 4 would have been all right.
Alright, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 45, 46, 47, 49, 5, 4,950,000.
Three, 4. 950.
Danny making sure that everything gets counted out correctly, and McGee now at 10.2.
You want to keep playing?
Yeah. Might as well now.
And Richardson not going for the chop here. McGee making an offer. He wants to keep playing. I can't blame him. You play poker for 13, 14 hours, you might as well finish it out. This tournament started at 11 a.m. and it is now 4:15 a.m. local time. And Richardson with a monster on the button. Ace Queen suited. Keeping that sizing. Consistent. Goes with 800,000 again. McGee jamming it all in with 9-8.
So I was more golden on the last one. Good luck.
And an obvious call for Richard with the ace queen. He's going to be a huge favorite here. And look at this flop. She flops the nuts straight versus the flush draw. It's still basically a flip. What is going on here?
This is crazy. Also has the gut shot to Broadway.
I think I'm due.
Ace Queen.
I think I'm due for a 3 of diamonds.
This is a $9,000 hand.
River card, what are you? King for Broadway.
Gets there. And Richardson now with almost every chip in play. McGee is going to be all in for $300,000 next hand. And she's going to have to double up several times. That happened so quick.
Yeah, the 9-8 just rip.
That was the strangest thing.
Flops the nuts and almost holds to end the tournament.
2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9,600,000 is the count.
I'd flop it. He really
That's crazy. That was a hell of a flop, though.
Wow.
So much equity. Even on the turn, winning that one 25% of the time. And we're looking at that 25%.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, with 9,000 on the line and between them, Danny doing a good job making sure every chip is awarded properly here. And as Dan mentioned, McGee now left with a big blind in the big blind.
How do you find these hands and these flops? Heads up. It's not supposed to be like that.
Okay, well, I'm throwing it all in there blind.
Oh, you're all in? This is your fourth there. Good luck. What, she's already all in, right?
4, it's 300,000.
Yeah.
Yes, game cards.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, let's see.
9 high versus 10 high. McGee needs to double here.
We'll see, we'll see.
Needs a 9 or a 4.
Hiya, nice hand.
Gets the 9. She's still got some life here. She's going to need a few doubles like that in a row. This is actually a triple because he was in the big blind with the ante, so she goes from 300 to 900.
It's been very hard to...
2 more doubles, she'll be right back in this thing.
You set the tables I've been at.
Big one.
Very hard. All in?
I'll call. Yeah.
Yeah, gotta put in.
Oh, wow. Somehow
Anything
Richardson has 2 overcards here. 6 high versus 4 high.
These hands are ridiculous.
McGee needs help again. Possible chop opportunities here.
Chop.
Yeah, anything above a 6.
3.
That'll do it. Let's play the board, everybody.
Could have been some...
Run it back.
And as we saw before with Ike, this is a situation where McGee does lose a few chips.
Yeah, loses half a big blind there. The ante gets chopped.
Yeah, Danny doing a good job just dealing some memeable hands. Obviously, Richardson's going to be all in, asking to win it all, every single hand right now, any 2 cards. But the fact that he had 2 overs there, they end up playing the board. It's wild.
And
Now
dominating
queen
this time. Queen high versus queen high.
It's
8 kicker is good so far. McGee needs help again. This is another one that could easily be a chop.
no player with a heart.
And the deuce is a bad card for McGee. The straight gets there. Queen 8 straight. She needs an 8 now to tie. Or a king.
And that will wrap it up. Queen 8, the winning hand
Thank you.
of the monster stack here at Champions.
What a battle. What a fun stream to watch. And 2 aggressive players going at it heads up. McGee taking home over $19,000 and Richardson taking home first place, $27,200. Congratulations to both players. Well played. And what a story for Richardson. Comes into this final table with less than 10 big blinds. Fades a bunch of all-in spots. Made a couple of moves, but also got some great card distribution pretty early on in the final table. And brings it home. Well, thank you all for watching. Be sure to hit that thumbs up, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Come on back to Champions Poker Live for our next stream. We're going to be doing Cash Game Monday, 7 p.m. Central. For Kyle Miller, this is Dan Fouts saying good night.
See ya.
Play your hand.